PV is one to talk. He is Prince TYT sheepdog. Yeah, like that's the part that's always amazing to me. PV doesn't take a position that's not from the Young Turks. And the wild part is, look, if a person is not willing to go on a show and debate, I lose a certain degree of respect for him. I watched whatever you want to think of H.A. Goodman, whatever even you want to think of Sam Cedar. Both of them are willing to essentially get into the cage and arena and go after one another and debate. Progressive Voice the guy's literally in his mom's basement and doesn't have the courage of no courage at all. Progressive Voice goes way too far in his criticism of Jamarl. Well, so Jay's from Detroit. You may not know the backstory on this. So Progressive Voice sends me an email, and he's like, "Hey man, can I come on your show? Is there anything we can argue about?" Literally, I pull up the email. And I never liked PV because I never liked PV. And let me be honest, why? When Sane Progressive was doing her show, Sane Progressive came out when Justice Democrats came out. Not at the same time, but Justice Democrats comes out, and Sane Progressive comes out, and I don't know if she does an opinion on it, but PV, my show, and a few other shows are like, this is awesome. This is great. Essentially, there's going to be somewhat of a media and a political arm in the way that the Young Turks is going about their show. I'm on the fence with this. And I'm kind of like, yeah, maybe. Sane Progressive comes out and trashes it. Cal comes out and does a show. Now, Cal does a show. He's utterly ballistic. And in being ballistic, Cal is going after Sane Progressive and essentially telling her to get the fuck out the way. Progressive Voice almost immediately does a show essentially repeating Cal, and is on that show looking like he's almost in tears, telling Sane Progressive to kick rocks. Hard Bastard does a show. Now, when Hard Bastard does a show, Hard Bastard kind of brings the point up of, this guy is a useful idiot, and he is essentially following whatever TYT and Cal is saying. He has no opinion of his own. Hard Bastard hits him for this. Essentially, this is the loony version of the left. This is the version of the left that essentially brain dead. They're just kind of following. And he was making the point that other shows weren't. I've always disliked Progressive Voice for this, because I've always looked at him as just being a child that's just following whatever TYT and Cal does. So when he asked me to be on my show, my thought was, I joked him. I did a show laughing at him. In fact, I think it was a large part of that show, literally, outright laughing at him. I don't know which show that was, but it was a bunch of us. Progressive Voice was on that show, and he sent at the bottom of that video, "You guys suck." He said something like that. Like, "You guys suck. Like, this is low blow, man. You guys suck." Now, I felt like I was being an asshole for that. I felt horrible for that. And it put me in the mind of when I was a child, when I was younger, and these guys were joking this girl, this young woman, and they were like, "Oh man, she's so busted, and she's, horrendous, and she's, And I go repeating the stuff that these guys say, and I see this girl standing behind me. I have no idea who that woman is. And I find out several years later that the woman who's looking at me like that, whose face is emblazoned in my brain, was the woman who we were talking about. Do you realize one of the worst things that I've ever done in my life was that? I didn't even realize I was doing it. It was that. It's stuck in my head. I feel sorry for it to this day. I can't make up for it. Can't go back. Can't change my mind. Can't apologize to the girl for it. Don't even know where she is in life. I do know that I've fucked her up to some degree, where I put into her head certain things that may or may not be true, and that those things will stay with her for the rest of her life, and I am responsible for it. Now, maybe I might be giving myself too much credit. I just know for myself there are things that happened when I was a kid that are still in my head, even if they're just there on a subconscious level. I joked him pretty hard. I joked it pretty hard because I thought it was a child that was following other men. And I still do, by the way, which is why I don't necessarily engage on this. I sent him an email apologizing. I was like, dude, look, I'm sorry. And I said, would you like to come on my show? Let's have a conversation. Let's have a show. I've even offered to bring him onto the show to debate on the issues that he believes that he wants to debate on. He will not do that. HA has done the same thing. He will not do that. He is a child in a form of men. And the problem here is that this child just goes around in his mom's basement attacking people without ever the ability or capability or even mental wherewithal to engage. I have quotas to hit on this show because, again, I am a man and I have responsibilities and bills. So I don't spend a huge amount of time dealing with the PV stuff. I don't really see the point. That's the backstory. I don't know if everybody knows all of that, and I have the emails that can attest to all of it in case you wanted to know. Let's see. All he talks about Biden is meaningless if he is endorsed by Obama,